All right, welcome back to Fantasy Central. This is your host, Zach. And of course, I'm here with the one, the only, the fantasy guru himself, Hefe.
What's going on, fantasy footballers? How we doing today?
Well, I hope they're good. I hope they're a lot better than me. I'm struggling this year. What I say earlier, I've lost 5 in a row in one of the leagues. Just can't catch a break.
Yeah, unfortunate, man.
Yeah, but the good news is that everybody else is about mediocre. So there's a nice big battle of all 6 people in my division that are fighting for these playoff spots. Only 2 weeks left. We're getting close.
Yeah, with all the injuries this year, everybody's kind of taking hits at different times. So everybody's going on different runs or getting hit with a bunch of losses at one time. Your league's going to be really interesting how that one shakes out.
Yeah, for sure. So today we're going to talk about Week 12 fantasy football. Like we said, there's only 2 weeks left until most of us start our playoffs. It's a mad scramble to clinch those coveted spots. So stick with us. Hefe is going to give you the advantage for this upcoming weekend. So first, though, quick announcement. We started this podcast as a fun little project, and we want to thank you for supporting us throughout the season. We're new to this game, but we hope that over the last 12 weeks or so, we've been able to provide you with great, entertaining discussions and or valuable insights into what's going on in the NFL. Being new content creators in an effort to build our platforms, we're giving out a free NFL jersey from the NFL shop paid for by us to one lucky fan. All you have to do is quickly help us out, go to our YouTube channel and subscribe. Doesn't cost you anything. It really goes a long way with us. Once we hit the 1,000 subscriber mark, we're giving this jersey out. And since you are the one that has supported us from the beginning, we want you to have the best shot at getting that. So again, go to our YouTube channel, hit subscribe, and kick back, relax, wait for that free jersey to drop, and grab it. So with that said, you ready to go, Hefe?
Let's get her done.
All right, let's do it. Week 12 waiver wire. What running backs are you targeting this week?
So, bye weeks are done with, right? And so, for the most part, with every position, you're going to have who you need. And so, there isn't a whole lot to get done in terms of waivers. But this Thursday on Thanksgiving, the Steelers and the Ravens play, and the Ravens obviously are dealing with some COVID-19 issues. And with Mark Ingram and J.K. Dobbins not there, that's going to leave Gus Edwards with pretty much all the work. So the last time these teams played, every running back ran the ball at least 16 times. Gus Edwards went 16 for 87 in that game. As long as they're running the ball like that, if they can do it again against the Steelers, Gus Edwards should be a guy that's picked up this week. It's a 1 week rental, so don't go giving away or let somebody pick up one of your guys that you're going to need in the playoffs. So, again, 1 week rental, just get rid of somebody this week that you can, but this is somebody that for sure should be played in every league this week. Also, I want to move here to James White. With Rex Burkhead going down, that opens up more opportunity for James White to get in the game. I've heard some people talking about Sony Michel possibly getting some run, but I just don't think that's the case. I think running the ball is going to be Damian Harris. I think James White's going to get a lot of passing work here and there, rushing work. Especially coming up against the Cardinals, they're probably going to have to pass a lot this upcoming week. So James White, somebody that I like there. And then moving on to the receivers, there are only 2 receivers here. And we already mentioned Michael Pittman. We mentioned him a couple times, but he had his first NFL touchdown this past week against the Packers and went for 366 and a touchdown. Another decent game. Somebody that, for week to week, I would be comfortable putting in a flex spot. They have the Titans again this week. He should have another nice game here against that secondary. So Michael Pittman, pick him up, and also Nelson Aguilar. We've talked about him before. They play Atlanta this week. And really, week to week, I like Nelson Aguilar. He seems to get a lot of play there. The only issue with Nelson Aguilar is that's not consistent. Some games we know they like to just run the ball a lot. But I think that this is going to be a game that they're going to have to pass more. Atlanta's probably going to be pass happy. It's going to force the Raiders to be pass happy. So I like Nelson Aguilar here. And then just to add on 2 tight ends here real quick, Dalton Schultz. If you really need somebody, Andy Dalton looked a lot better in that offense. The Cowboys as a whole, as an offense, looked a lot better under Andy Dalton. Zeke was eating again. Maybe they're able to use that play action more, but I think that with the offensive line issues, Dalton Schultz is going to get a lot more, not huge games, but he's somebody that can get you 8 to 12 points with a bunch of check down passes, get rattling off 8 to 10 yards every catch. So I like Dalton Schultz and also Will Dissly. Greg Olsen goes down. If you've played fantasy football for multiple years, you know that in the past, Will Dissly was a fantasy darling until he had a really unfortunate injury. But he's back, and it looks like he's going to get some starter reps, and we're going to be able to see him get more involved with the offense.
Yeah, for sure. I want to comment on first. I'll start with Gus Edwards. You're absolutely right. He's going to be the number one running back targeted on the wire. So if you need a running back, make sure he is your number one priority. He will get the workload. The Steelers' defense is pretty good, but with those kind of numbers and the capability of the Ravens' offense to put up points and rack up yards, definitely get your hands on Gus Edwards if you need a running back. The James White pick, it's kind of like, in my opinion, it's going to be a high risk, high reward type deal. I've been high on James White for years. Love the guy to death. His upside is way up there, but with as many running backs as the Patriots have had, his numbers have tended to drop off because they have so many options. You never know what Belichick's going to do. So high risk, high reward there. Michael Pittman stepping into the number one wide receiver spot for the Indianapolis Colts. And this Colts offense over the last few weeks has consistently gotten better, putting up yards, racking up touchdowns. And last week, Michael Pittman showed up, got his first touchdown in the league, and I think he's only going to continue to get better and continue to solidify his number one spot there. So if you need a receiver, pick up Michael Pittman and start him this week. And Aguilar had a great game last week. I think he'll continue that as well, so I agree there. And same thing with Dalton Schultz and Will Dissly. Good pickups there. So let's move on to starters this week. Obviously, you have your top-tier guys. We say this every week. We know you're going to start them. It's hard not to sit them. But these are the guys with the good matchups that most people don't think about. So who do you have starting this week at running back position?
So this first one that I have right here is going to be another high risk, high reward kind of guy. But if you play fantasy and you have him on your team, you love him sometimes, you hate him sometimes. It's Nyheim Hines going against Tennessee. And on that Thursday night game a couple weeks ago, he had an amazing game. So you would think that, Jonathan Taylor coming off a good game, they're going to work him a little bit, but they're going to go somewhere else. That's just what the Colts do. They don't use the same running back in the same game consecutively. So I think Nyheim Hines is going to get involved in this game. A lot of people catch passes for the Colts. There's like 10 people a week catching passes. So, it's hard to think that he's going to get 5 or 6 catches again in this game, but there is always that chance. It's a Tennessee defense, which is very soft. So I like Nyheim Hines. And then, I've talked a lot about liking the Giants defense, and I do, but Giovanni Bernard is an obvious choice here, right? They're going to have to pass the ball and probably going to have to check it down a lot because that offensive line is really bad. So I think Giovanni Bernard is a really good play this week. I think Duke Johnson has been really disappointing with David Johnson out, but I think this is going to be the week. The Lions are 32nd to running backs. They give up the most points to running backs this year. So I think Duke Johnson somehow, some way finds a way to get you like 15 if you need it. And then the last one that I have here as a starter is going to be Salvin Ahmed. I hope I'm saying that right. I don't know if I'm saying that right, but we got Salvin Ahmed here going against the Jets. It's obvious play. They're going against the Jets. The Dolphins need a big bounce back kind of game. I feel like that's definitely going to happen this week. So they're probably going to get up. They're going to run a lot. And Preston Williams is still out, so I think they're going to, continue to lean on that running game just a little bit. So those are my 4 for this week.
Yeah, I want to touch on the Nyheim Hines pickup start there. I have him in one of my leagues. Obviously, it's the one I've lost 5 in a row, so I can't really boast too much. But the last 4 weeks, he has had 2 20-plus point games and 2 under 10-point games. But last week, he had a touchdown called back and a 2-point conversion called back due to holding and like the 8 straight plays of holding or some shit that the Colts had. But so that number's skewed. Really, the last 4 weeks, he should have over three 20-plus point games. He's been playing well. They're getting him the ball. He's making the plays. I would definitely consider starting him, just like you said. He's been playing phenomenal. So we will definitely see how it plays out. And like you said, a couple of weeks ago when they played the Titans, he had what, 2, 3 touchdowns,
I
something
believe
like
2
that.
touchdowns, yeah.
Yeah. So he's definitely a starter in my opinion. All right, let's move on to wide receivers. Who you got starting this week at the receiver position?
So this first one's going to be contingent on whether or not Julio plays, and almost not even really. I kind of like this play either way, but I got Russell Gage here, and you can make an argument for the I don't even know how to say that other guy's last name on Waysar or whatever. I don't know. So whoever their other receiver is that people talk about, but I think Russell Gage is going to be a decent play here. I think the Falcons, like I said earlier, they're going to be pass happy in this game. I think that the Raiders going to get up in this game. So especially with Julio Jones, if he's out, then Russell Gage should have a big day here. Also, Justin Jefferson, and this one kind of contingent, not really contingent on whether or not Thielen plays. Thielen might be out. We're going to have to see. He's going to have to pass some COVID tests to be able to play on Sunday. But Justin Jefferson, whether or not he plays, should have a good game. But, if you're on the fence about whether or not to put him in over a guy like an AB, then I would say go with Jefferson in that kind of case. And also DJ Moore, he's back, baby, which is great because I have him in one of my leagues, and I'm really going to need him in that league. If I'm going to get in the playoffs, it's going to be a tough stretch here. But they play Minnesota, and so I think DJ Moore, Justin Jefferson, two guys that should have big games coming out of that game, and then I kind of already mentioned his name, but Antonio Brown going against KC. He's getting a lot of targets. Now, if Tom Brady was a better quarterback, then Antonio would have like 15 catches in the game against the Rams. But unfortunately, AB only comes away with, I believe it was 8 catches. So still a decent game, just not a whole lot of downfield work because the accuracy wasn't on point there. But if they're going to keep targeting him down the field the way they were against the Rams, then when you're going up against a team that's not as good in the secondary, you can expect Antonio Brown to have some of those catches, have big days. So going forward, probably a weekly play. As long as his targets are like that, I like him every week.
Yeah, absolutely agree on that. If you have Antonio Brown playing, the dude is capable of making a play out of thin air. DJ Moore, I do like it. Unfortunately for me, I have Curtis Samuel, so DJ Moore being out there is going to take away targets from him. But yeah, the other two, if Julio Jones is out, definitely start Russell Gage. Those guys are going to get the ball. Any one of those receivers is more than capable of having a multiple touchdown type of game at any point, even with Julio Jones out there, just like you said. And then Justin Jefferson with Thielen out, he's going to be the guy to go to there. So definitely keep an eye on that. I agree with all 4 of those. Great starts. Play them if you got them. Let's move on to sitters, people you got to avoid playing this week just due to that bad matchup. We'll start with running backs. Who you got?
So this first one is tough, but we just saw Aaron Jones go up against arguably the best defense in the league and only came away with, I believe it was 10.1 fantasy points this week. So going against Chicago, I understand the Packers are going to win this game, right? And because Chicago's offense is dog shit, but their defense is still one of the best units in the league. They're giving up the second fewest points to running backs this year so far. And so I just think that this isn't a game. Now, obviously, if you have Aaron Jones, you're probably not listening to me. You're playing him anyways because he's Aaron freaking Jones. But it's something that if you have an extra guy that you can throw in there for this week, or you're able to get the Gus Edwards off the waiver wire to be able to sit Aaron Jones, I would do that. And then Josh Jacobs, same kind of situation. You're probably playing him if you have him, but if you're able to sit him, I think that third time I mentioned this, that Atlanta game, I think it's just going to be all around pass happy. I think the Raiders are going to have to throw to keep up with the pace of what the Falcons are able to do. So I think they throw a lot. They don't run as much. And so I think if you can, Aaron Jones, Josh Jacobs, sit them if possible.
I don't know, man. It'd be very, very difficult to pull the trigger on one of those.
Yeah, and,
Uh,
and you know, for everything we want to say about Atlanta, they are giving up the eighth fewest points to running backs also. So that kind of factored in. Just both of those are really just the matchup more than anything.
yeah, for sure. I mean, I have Aaron Jones, and I could tell you, I'm probably well. Obviously, I can't because my whole squad is injured. But yeah, it'd be very difficult. I was looking at the point, at least the points in my league, and I think the lowest amount he had all season was 12. So he could still get the touches. He's just not putting up the 20-point games that you're used to. But if you do have a better matchup, you never know what can happen. So I could see sitting Jones in favor of somebody who's going to get a nice workload against a more favorable matchup. And same thing with Josh Jacobs. I think you're right. It's going to be a high scoring passing affair in that game too. So I don't expect him to put up the kind of numbers that we're used to seeing. So let's move on to wide receivers. Who are you sitting out this week?
So this first one, I hate on him quite a bit. I think I've sat this dude like 6 times this year, but it's going to be Juju, and they're going against Baltimore. He might not even play in this game, so this might be all for nothing. But if Juju plays, I don't like it. I don't like the matchup.
Has Juju done anything this year?
He had, I think he's had like two boom games. I think the boom and bust thing that's on the ESPN fantasy app. I think he's had two boom games, but he's had quite a few bust games too. We've obviously this past week we just saw Deontay Johnson get like 13 catches. Obviously, Chase Claypool has been a big factor. So Juju just not a guy that I think you should play with confidence this week. If you have somebody, if you drafted Juju, you've probably played him every week because he was a high draft pick, somebody you kind of depended on. But if you can sit him this week, and also AJ Brown. You can make the argument, AJ Brown should have had a big day against the Colts if he catches that pass on the sideline. But the fact is, he didn't catch it. He is, dropping passes isn't new to AJ Brown. He's a beast. We all know he's a beast, but the dude drops passes. And going against Xavier Rhodes, the only way AJ Brown has a big game is if they line him up more against Rocky Sin. But nobody's thrown at Xavier Rhodes this year, and for good reason. He allows a really low completion percentage. So I think Corey Davis is going to be somebody that if you're looking for somebody to start in that game in DFS or something, maybe you go for Corey Davis. But AJ Brown, somebody I'm not comfortable with.
Yeah, let me run down some point values here, at least in my league with AJ Brown. We're going to start at week 5 when they played Buffalo. He had 21 points, then 22, 33, 12, 24. And then week 10, they played the Colts. He had 1 reception, 4 targets, 21 yards, 3.1 points. This is against the best defense in the league. So I wholeheartedly agree. Sit his ass on the bench.
Get him out.
You got any more?
Nope. That's going to do it for me.
No. All right. Well, check out our Facebook, Twitter pages at Horsemen Sports. Hefe's Power Rankings will be posted here very shortly if they're not already out by the time this is published. Let us know what you think about your favorite team's ranking. Give Jeff some shit. He loves to argue about where he's placing them and where you think they should be at. Again, help us reach 1,000 subscribers on YouTube. You'll have a shot at winning a free, authentic NFL jersey from the NFL shop. You'd be supporting us. Like I said earlier, we're new to this game. We're content creators. We're trying to get it done. We're trying to get better for you. Just subscribe. Doesn't cost you anything. Helps us go a long way. And hopefully one of these days when we all have $1 million production crew, we can give you the best damn show you've ever seen. And then it's not too late to join our Pigskin Pick'em. You're not going to win the entire league because that's going to be yours truly here. But you can get in the last few weeks of the season, pick who you think is going to win every game, go head-to-head on a weekly basis with us. It's pretty fun. We're pretty good, so I don't blame you for wanting to sit out. But the link is posted on our Facebook page at Horsemen Sports. You got anything else to throw out here, Hefe?
Nope, man. Just good luck to everybody. The playoffs in pretty much every league start in week 14, so we got 2 more weeks to do what you need to do. So good luck.
Yeah, it's getting close, man. This season has flown by.
Yes, we felt like forever waiting for it. Especially with the lockdowns and whatnot. But now that we're in it, it's like, all right, you can slow down. Now I want to enjoy this for a little while.
I know, right? Before we know it, Super Bowl's going to be over, and then we're going to be sitting there waiting months and months again for some football. It's just going to be agonizing.
Yep. But hey, if the Colts win the Super Bowl, then the wait. I'll be fine with the wait. Screw it.
Hell yeah, I can agree with that. All right, well, that's all we got for you guys today. We'll be back on Thursday with Brad for our Week 12 picks and preview show. We'll see you then, and thanks for listening and chilling out with us today.